Hello, and welcome to this week's session of Intro to Technology. This week, we're going to be doing Google Sheets. I'm going to start off by introducing myself. My name is Javon James. I'm a digital teaching and learning coach with Winston Forsyth County Schools. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at ypjames@wsfcs.k12.nc.us. And let's get started with Google Sheets. So in this session, we will manipulate our spreadsheet a little bit by adding rows and columns and then filling in those rows and columns. We're going to do a little bit with formulas. We're going to really look at that sum formula. And then we're going to freeze some of the rows and the columns so that they don't disappear on us. And then finally, we'll manipulate the data on this spreadsheet by sorting it and filtering it. If you would like a copy of this presentation for this week, in your address bar, type in bit.ly/Google Sheets presentation. And this presentation is especially helpful this week because I have some GIFs in there that show all the steps, and it'll repeat it over and over until infinity if you would like to see it that many times. So you can just watch it as many times as you like. So in your address bar, type in bit.ly/Google Sheets presentation, and you'll have this presentation. To start off, I am really going to ask you, though, to make a copy of our sample data. That one would be bit.ly/sample data may, and that'll give you a copy of all of the data that we're going to be manipulating, and so you can have one to work with yourself. So I'm going to show this one on the slide before I go and do it so you can see how those GIFs work. The first thing we're going to do with our sample data is insert a column. To insert a column, we're going to insert one right beside row B. And so you will click on row B, click Insert from the menus options, and choose Column Left. And then we are going to give that column a header because we're going to be using that a little bit later. So we're going to call that column Paid. So going over again, click on column B, click Insert, Column Left, and then type Paid at the top of there. So I'm going to escape out of our presentation here, and I am going to open up that bit.ly sample data may, and it asks us to make a copy. So I am going to make a copy. And after my sample data loads, I am going to do those steps that we saw in that GIF. So I'm going to click on column B. From the menu, I'm going to choose Insert and say Column Left. And at the top of that column, I'm going to type Paid. So now we have that column made. The next thing we're going to do is insert a checkbox. So one thing I'm going to show you, go to Insert from our menu, click on Checkbox, and now we have a checkbox. If for some reason I was still clicked up here, perhaps when I said Insert Checkbox and it erased it, I'm like, oh no. Want to point out our handy dandy undo button up here in the upper left hand corner. So I can click undo and it takes it back. So anytime something goes kind of crazy, like you click something, you're like, oh, where did it go? Use that undo button right there. But we have our checkbox there. And the next thing we're going to do is click on, like, see how when I go up there, I get the plus sign, and that is my fill. So I grab that square and I'm going to drag it all the way down till I get to 44 and let go. And now I have check boxes in that entire column. So when someone pays off this account, I can click it and it checks. And I can unclick it so that I can have that there to know that someone has paid that account. Gonna give it a brief pause. If you would like to go ahead and insert your checkboxes. Okay, so now we're going to work on a little bit of formatting on our spreadsheet. I noticed that over the paid column, it stands out a whole lot because our checkboxes are centered and the word paid is not. But then when I look a little bit closer, I noticed that in the region, rep, and item, those things are also centered, but our headers are not. So I'm going to click in B1 and then I'm going to hold it down and drag until I get to E1 so I have paid, region, rep, and item all highlighted. Then I'm going to use my alignment icon and click on that and change it from right to center. And now those are centered across my spreadsheet and looks a little bit less wonky. The next thing I'm going to do is kind of make that header row pop out of there. So I am going to highlight A1 through H1 so I can get my entire header. Then I'm going to use the fill bucket. And I'm going to choose a color. You can choose whatever color you like, but I'm going to choose a color. And now you see how my header really stands out from the rest of the data on my spreadsheet. So I'm going to pause again to give you a moment to center B, C, D, and E, and then add some color to the entire header row that we have up there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to pretend like we forgot to put in some information in our spreadsheet, so we need to insert a row. We missed this right here. So on March 1st, we forgot to enter some data there. So I'm going to click on row 6, and I'm actually clicking on the number 6 so that I can highlight that entire row. And then I'm going to say insert row above. And then I'm going to type in the information that I missed when I was filling it out, which was March 1st. And it was in the East. We had Jones. He did some pencils. There were 45 units sold at $4.99 each. So we're going to get that information in there for Jones. Again, we clicked on the row. At the time, it was row 6. So you click on the number 6. Then you say insert, row above, and then type in all of that information. I'm going to give you a moment to update your spreadsheet. All right. So the next thing that we need to do is actually do the math kind of here for unit sold and unit cost. So to do that, I'm going to click in H2, which is right beside my first set of units and costs. Then I am going to click on the function button. It looks like a sigma. You can click on that sigma, and then I'm going to say sum. And then it wants to know what do I want to sum. So I'm going to click on F2 and I'm going to hold it down and drag it over to G2. So I have F2 and G2 highlighted, and then I'm going to hit the enter key on my keyboard. And what you will notice is that it actually added that together, which wasn't exactly what I wanted to happen, but I can see that it's doing 95 plus $1.99. So I'm going to click back in that cell, and up here in the in the left, I have this function that says equals sum F2 colon G2. So that's saying add everything from F2 to G2, which it did, but that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to click right next to the G, and I'm going to hit my backspace key on my keyboard, and I'm going to hit shift and the number 8, so I get an asterisk, which is multiplication. And now when I hit the enter key on my keyboard, it did the math correctly. So now I have 95 times $1.99. After I do that, I'm going to use that fill feature that we used a little bit earlier, and I'm going to click on that function. And now remember that square that I have in the lower right hand corner? I'm going to click on that and drag it all the way down to row 45 and let go. And there we go. It has filled in that formula for all of my cells in that column. So I'm going to give you a moment to go back into your spreadsheet and create that formula by clicking in the box, clicking the functions, sum, highlight F2 and G2, hit the enter key, then we clicked on it again, went up to the function bar, click beside G2, backspace, shift and the number 8, and enter to get the function, and then use your fill to drag it down and fill in the entire column. So now we're going to arrange our data. So we're going to do a little bit of a sort. So we can see we have pencil binder, pencil pen. We're going to group it all together. So we have all of our pencils together, all of our desks together. And to do that, we're going to use Control A on your keyboard. So I hit Control and A, and you can see how my screen turned, all my data turned blue. So I know that I have it all selected because Control A is select all. Then I'm going to go to the data menu, choose sort range. Going to say my data has a header row, and that lets it know that I don't want to sort the top row in with everything else. And I want to sort by item. I choose item, and then I say sort. And now all my binders are together and all my desks are together. I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to do undo so it's not sorted. And I hit Control A. And then I hit data, sort range. Data has header row. Item, sort by item, and sort. There we go. Going to give you a moment to sort your data. The next little trick that we're going to do with our spreadsheet is freeze the rows. So, for example, when I scroll, you see my header is there, and then once I start scrolling, it disappeared, right? So a lot of times you want to still see that while you're scrolling. So if you go over to where the number 1 is in your rows, and then I'm gonna scroll. There's a gray bar there, and you can see whenever I get over top of it, it turns from a pointer arrow to a hand. So when the hand is over it, I can click, and my hand grabs it, and I'm gonna drag it down under the number 1. So now it's frozen row 1, and now when I scroll, that header stays there all the time. You can also do that with your columns. So to the left of the letter A, I'm going to get that and then get that gray bar and grab it. And I'm going to drag it all the way over to the reps. So if I had a lot of data out in this spreadsheet, but I always want to see who did it, I am going to scroll sideways like that. And those names always stay there. So you can put that wherever you like, and it's whenever you find that gray bar, you get the hand and you grab it and you drag it to where you want. And if you leave it all the way like in its original position, then nothing will be frozen. Give you a moment to play. The next part is kind of easy breezy because it's just a little bit of typing. We are going to type each item that we have. So we have binders and desk, pens, pen set, and pencils. And what we're going to do with those items are we are going to total how much revenue we brought in from each of these items. So to do that, I'm going to use my function sigma again and click on that. And this time we really are going to sum. So I'm going to click on sum, and I'm in that cell K2 for my binders, and I'm going to click on H2 and drag it all the way down to H16, which is where my binders stop, and then I hit the enter key, and we sold $9,577.65 worth of binders. And I'm going to repeat that process. So now I am in K3 for the desk. And click on the functions button and then sum. And then I'm going to click in 17, where is the first desk. And I'm going to stop right there on 19 and enter. And I'm going to continue that process, and you can watch me do all of them, or you can pause and head to your spreadsheet and do the binders, desk, pen set, and pencils. All right. Now that we have all of that, all of our revenue totaled, the reason why we would want to do this is because whenever something changes, so if I notice that Jones sold, I wrote down 60, and I'm actually meant to write down he had 70. When I type in the units, it's going to automatically change. Let me change it back to 60 again. We're going to watch that total right there. You see how that the total changes there. So I changed it to 70, and that went up. But also, since that was a binder, if you watch our binder total, whenever I change things, it will automatically update that too. So I can make changes in one of the data points, and then I don't have to go back and retype, like recalculate all the different things that it affects. So that's why it's really good to use formulas instead of doing the same thing maybe in a Google Doc where the Google Doc wouldn't have the same formula. So you would have had to have hand typed all of them, and as soon as you change something, you have to go and change it in all the other affected areas. Another thing that people do with their sheets are filter it. So what we did was sort it, and that puts everything in some kind of order. We could have sorted it by region, and the reason why I sorted it by item was because I knew I was going to do that. But another thing we might sort by is region, so we can see how many cells were by region, that kind of thing. But maybe all you want to see are all the cells from the east. To do that, we're going to use Control A again. And Control A is our select all. And so we have all of this data selected. And if you hit Control A again, it gives you, so that was like, first it was just like this part where I kind of had my cursor at. And if I hit it again, you can see it got black around the outside. And that means that it's like the entire spreadsheet is selected. And I'm going to go to Data, create a filter. And now you see it went from black to green. So I know that I'm in like filter mode here. And then it gave me these triangles that have the lines on them. And I can click on region. And I'm going to unselect blanks and uncheck central and uncheck west. So all that I have left checked is east. And say OK. And so now there's no scrolling because all I have are the east on my screen. And you'll notice that like everything else is gone. And also I can still see this like light green around the outside. So I can tell that I'm in filter mode, and also some numbers are skipped. So it's going 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 21, 22. So that's how I can tell that I'm in filter mode. To stop being in filter mode, if you go back to data and you can say turn off filter. And now I'm seeing my whole spreadsheet again. If that filter is something that I would use often, so I'm going to do Control A again to select everything. And I'm going to go to Data, create a filter. And I'm going to do that same East filter again. So I'm going to uncheck everything. And OK. Then I can go to Data, Filter Views, Save as Filter View. So now I can give my filter a name where it says name filter 1, which isn't very helpful. I'm going to name it East so I can remember that that's what I used it for. And then to turn it off, I'm going to go, and the turn off went away. So I'm going to click on, there's a couple ways. I can click on this X, and that'll leave the filter view. I can also go to Data, Filter Views, and None. And I'm going to have to do, so now I have my turn off filter again showed up. So that is how you can get in and out of your filter. And again, that'd be so that you can see just that data. So maybe you need to do a screenshot of just the east, and you didn't want to have to like group it all together, scroll down to it, that kind of thing. So you could just filter it. So depends on how you want to manipulate your data, but you can do that however you like. I'm going to jump back into the presentation. So we're going to have a bit of a pop quiz. Can you create a filter for Jones? So can you filter the reps so that all we see on your sheet is Jones? So hopefully you'll be able to go through those steps. If you get stumped, you can give me an email and I can help walk you through it. ypjames@wsfcs.k12.nc.us. But let's see if you can create a filter for Jones. And then when you have finished that, and you want to turn in your sheet so that I have a record that you have finished this webinar, you click on bit.ly/Google Sheets May. So you can click on that, which is what I'm going to do. But if you did not have the presentation, you can type that into your address bar and it'll take you to this form. And you're going to turn in your sheet. So to do that, you're going to just type in your first name, your last name, and the shareable link for your Google Sheet. To get the shareable link, I'm going to go back to my sheet and click on Share, Get Shareable Link, Copy Link, and that's now copied. And I'm going to go here and click Paste. So I did Control V to paste. You can also right click paste, however you do paste, and then submit that, and you're all done. So thank you for hanging out with me this week doing Google Sheets. I will say, whew, that was a lot, but don't forget in the presentation, we have the GIF that will repeat the steps over and over again. And then also you can always pause and rewind on, as everyone knows, because you're watching this video, every Wednesday, I will put a new one until June 8th, I think is the last session. But I put the videos on our digital learning page. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I look forward to seeing you next week when we do Microsoft Excel.